The auction room was electric, buzzing with the hum of excitement and the gentle clinking of glasses. Vintage art, rare antiques, and priceless collector's items were displayed everywhere, each piece whispering a story of its own. But among the eager crowd, two women stood out, not for what they were bidding on, but for the invisible sparks that flew every time their eyes met. Clara had always loved auctions. She lived for the thrill of competition, the suspense of raising her paddle, and the sweet rush of victory. But today, her focus was completely divided. Across the room, she saw Lena, her fiercest rival in bids, and it seemed in subtle, stolen glances. Lena carried herself with a confidence that made Clara's pulse race, a boldness in her stance and a sly, knowing smile that made you wonder what secrets she was keeping. The first item went up for bid, a delicate silver necklace, rumored to have belonged to a European duchess. Clara's hand rose instinctively, paddle ready, and just as quickly, Lena's paddle shot up to challenge her. 10,000, Clara thought, hers all firm. Lena's eyes met hers, twinkling with pure mischief, and she raised the bid by another 1,000. Clara's stomach did a little flip, not from frustration, but from an odd, fluttery feeling she couldn't quite place. The auctioneer's gavel finally pounded, and the necklace went to Lena. Later, Clara found her, a mix of admiration and playful annoyance in her eyes. "You always have to outbid me, don't you?" she said, her tone halfway between a tease and a challenge. Lena's laugh was warm, a sound that seemed to hang in the air. "Maybe I just like seeing that determined look on your face," she replied, leaning in just close enough for Clara to feel the warmth of her breath. The space between them suddenly felt charged, heavier than the antique chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. As the day went on, the dance continued. They met at every bidding line, each auction item turning into a subtle game of one-upmanship. But Clara found herself drawn in by Lena's infectious energy, the way she laughed at her own daring bids, the mischievous spark that never left her eyes. This was no longer about the objects. By the time the final lot came up a pair of stunning vintage leather chairs, Clara knew it. She raised her paddle. Lena raised hers. Their eyes locked, and the entire room seemed to melt away, leaving just the two of them in a silent standoff. Neither wanted to back down. Clara held her gaze, her heart pounding in her chest. As Lena's lips curved into that infuriating, irresistible smile, the gavel finally came down. Lena had won by a single final bid. But instead of frustration, Clara felt a strange, surprising warmth spread through her. Lena turned, her gaze softening. "Coffee?" she asked, nodding toward the small cafe attached to the auction house. After a brief hesitation, Clara nodded. Together, they left the noise of the auction room behind, their paddles and prizes forgotten. The cafe was a quiet little haven, filled with the scent of roasted coffee beans and soft music. They sat across from each other, laughter spilling easily between them as they replayed the day's bidding wars. As Lena reached for her cup, her fingers brushed against Clara's, sending a jolt up her arm. "Do you always have this effect on people?" Clara asked, her voice a little lower than before. Lena's grin widened. "Only on the ones I want to," she replied, leaning closer again. The world seemed to shrink until it was just the two of them, the cafe's gentle hum fading into the background. Clara's pulse quickened, a mix of anticipation and pure desire. Without another word, Lena reached out and gently brushed a loose strand of hair from Clara's face. Their eyes held, their hearts racing in perfect sync. Then Lena leaned in, and her lips softly met Clara's. It started gently, a tentative, questioning touch, but the warmth between them grew into something electric and undeniable. Clara responded instinctively, her arms wrapping around Lena as she deepened the kiss, letting the quiet of the cafe envelop them. When they finally pulled apart, they were both breathless, smiling, the air still shimmering with what had just passed between them. "I think I could get used to losing to you," Clara whispered, her forehead resting against Lena's. "Good," Lena murmured, her hands cupping Clara's face. "Because I don't plan on losing again, especially not you." In that moment, Clara realized that winning wasn't always about taking home an antique. Sometimes the real prize was finding someone worth more than any treasure in the room. And for her, that someone was Lena. From that day on, their bidding battles transformed. They became less about rivalry and more about finding excuses to be together, filled with whispered laughs, shared coffees, and secret kisses. In the middle of an auction house, they had discovered a treasure neither of them had expected to find: each other. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.